Alright, we should be live now. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm running a little bit behind today, so give me one moment. Get some music on here. Alright, can you guys hear me? Okay, let me look at the volume. Test 1, 2. Alright, that should be good. Alright, so running into some technical difficulties here. Trying to get my top cam up here, the one that's pointing down at the build, to work essentially. It's the Elgato face cam. I haven't used it in a while, and right now it doesn't want to be detected. What's up? We got a lot of people in the pre-stream though. What's up, Chris? Hey, Chris, I actually have your table mat down right here, but I can't show it to you because the camera is not working. So yeah. What's up, other Chris, aka Christopher Coonan, Jane Knacker, Lego Man, Gabe. Hello everyone. Let me see if it's probably not set up right now. Let me pop the chat out real quick and get y'all's comments on the stream. I'm a little bit flustered right now because the camera setup's not working, but we'll get it right eventually. All right, let's see. There we go. How's it going? Yeah, so Hurricane Ian. Who else was in Florida that I knew? Tech by Matt's down in Florida. I'm not sure how close he is to that. So hopefully he's doing okay. But I've seen a lot of stuff about Hurricane Ian just from Twitter, you know, just randomly scrolling Twitter, and wow, it seems crazy. I've seen like basically water levels up to like the first stories of homes and apartments and stuff, which that sucks for the people living there. Oh yeah, Greg's down there too. I don't recall exactly if he's in northern Florida or because the eye of the storm is closer to the south, right? So okay, let me see if this is gonna work for the camera. If it doesn't work, then I don't know what to do, honestly. Yeah, it's not gonna reach. Why is this camera not working? I do have USB-C. Come on. Oh, the disconnect sound went through? I thought OBS was pretty good at filtering that out. Yeah, so the way that I have it set up is most USB cables are not long enough to like reach, you know, like on that side of the table all the way over to the PC. So what I have to use is the USB male to female extension cables, which I just tried 2 different ones and they're not working. So I think not enough power is getting to the camera, but I don't know where my other cable would be. I thought these were the ones I've used in the past. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So bear with me while we just chill anyways, since we're giving people a little bit of leeway to go get their drinks, use the restroom, all that good stuff. I have too much tech? No, it's more like because I don't do build streams all that often. Like if I did it every week, then I would probably have it set up and ready to go. But it's been a while since I've done one, so I thought it would just be plug and play this morning. So I didn't give any mind to it until it was closer to stream, like a procrastinator like I am, and now it's not ready. So I don't have any other alternatives unless I move this camera, but this one is horribly set up. I have not posted the LAN party video yet. A lot of people have been asking me about it, and that is still in progress. Honestly, I've been playing a lot of Wrath of the Lich King Classic since it came out, so you know, it's been a while since I binged the game, so I've been really into that. Here, let me show you. I'm gonna turn the camera so that at least I'm still on screen. But yeah, let me look for the other cable. Aha! Okay, I think this might work. Found it. We're not gonna use the face cam if this works. If this works, then we're gonna use my main camera right here. What sucks is these Canon cameras, they use this is the mini USB, right? So yeah, it's not the micro USB. So these are even more like uncommon because phones don't even use these. They're too thick. But this is what these Canon cameras use, which is annoying. Let's see. This one right here. So let's see if this works. Yeah, mini USB. It's just like, what year is it? So Facecam, Elgato, you have failed me. Or maybe I failed myself for not having a USB 3 point something extension cable. I need to order one from Amazon apparently. Is that what PS3 used? I don't recall if it was mini. But I think we should be good with this. I'm gonna get the battery on here. Lots of cables going all around. Got a cable coming in for like the dummy battery. And we got the USB cable coming off of it. Got something on the notifications. Let me see what that was. That was. Is that what's that P? Was that the Filipino peso, or just pesos? Do you cool AG400 a good cooler for the Ryzen 5 3600? Yeah. The AG400 will work fine. I was actually going to use an AG400 in this build, but they were out of stock, so I went for the ID cooling one instead. Okay, let me see if the test bench is gonna work now. Come on. No? Gonna not work. Oh, have I not used Canon EOS? I'm gonna have to install this real quick. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't see the chat. So, Greg, I gotta put the chat highlight on there too. Browser. Yeah, so I knew Greg lived in Florida. I wasn't aware of exactly where though. So, I wonder, hopefully his house is okay. Okay. Come on, Canon. This build shouldn't take that long. So we do have a little bit of spare time. But if this doesn't get to working soon, I have to really look for alternatives. Alright, let's go. Come on. There it is. Alright, we got a camera on the top view. Gabe with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Gabe. All right, let me go back to this cam since we got that working now. Any recommendations for a 1080p 60 FPS webcam under 200 bucks? Oh man, so Coalition Gaming Chris in the chat. He actually does a ton, or he has done a ton of webcam reviews. The Elgato Facecam, I think originally was 200. I really like it, and I was able to get it for a little bit cheaper. I wonder if they've gone down in price since then. What I like about this is that their software is very easy to use if you're trying to change like the temperature. This has like a big focus range, so you don't have to mess with any of the settings like in terms of getting something to look sharp on it. It looks good. I forgot what the distance was, but it was like 1 foot away to like 4 feet or something like that. So yeah, I think I went with it because the image quality compared to other $200 webcams, from the comparisons I found online, that's why I went with it. But how much are these webcams? Yeah, these are going for $170 now, so the price has gone down a little bit. If you buy a used one or like an Amazon open box, it's the same price. So yeah. But Chris, if you have anything to weigh in, feel free. Do I got a spare power USB hub? That wasn't the issue. It was definitely the cable. So I got it working now. So yeah, I need to fix this off on stream. Greg is the type of guy to have 10 insurance policies for every situation, so I'm sure he would come out ahead. Yeah, Greg definitely plans ahead. Also, did I recall correctly if he mentioned that I think on Twitter he said that they bought a new plot of land to build an even bigger house on. So I mean, he has another, hopefully that new home isn't like in the path of the hurricane, but yeah. I think he's ready to move out of his current home, is what the feeling I got from that tweet. Doback Slaps. Alright, what's up, Doback Slaps? With the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. I can't bring any of those on the stream highlights, unfortunately, but, okay. Let me drink some water real quick. My mouth is getting real dry. Okay, which, shout out to the channel members. I need to update this since we've gotten our last influx of crazy amount of gifted memberships. I just haven't had like a chance to figure out how I'm gonna do it because the list is so much bigger now that I gotta scale everything and move everything around. So I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but we do have Doback Slaps up here. Thank you for gifting more memberships today. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everyone else appreciates you gifting so that they get access to all the emojis and stuff like that. Okay, so we're 15 minutes in. Technical difficulties did not take forever. Let me get caught up on chat just because I kind of missed the beginning part of chat trying to find all the cables and stuff, but let's see what's going on. I don't know if we'll have time to do Twitter today. We might be able to. This build shouldn't take that long. It's a pretty simple build. There's nothing crazy. There's no AIOs. There's no additional fans. So all the stuff that would normally take time, it isn't there. So, oh yeah. Let me look on stream. Let me go to Stream Elements real quick. Your skin looks good, Danny. Is everything better now? Yeah, so I think so. I do have a little bit of marking, like, I'm not sure if that's going to be permanent scarring, but it definitely is not as red as before. Health-wise, I feel completely fine. It was definitely just a skin, like, irritation or inflammation issue. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so let's see if this chat bot works. All right, sweet. Chatbot is working, so it's all good. What are my thoughts on next gen? I think next gen is not accessible or affordable to a decent amount of people. And I don't think people who are working with regards to like a budget of, let's say, probably around 1200 or less, I don't think people should be looking at next gen. Previous gen, or what we can call current gen right now until everything is officially out, still performs really well. So that, like, this build right here, this is coming in at $1,000, and you're not going to be able to get this even near this performance with any of the new stuff without spending an extra few $100s, just because they haven't released parts that, you know, like this CPU that we're using is around 160 bucks. The current gen CPUs that are coming out right now, like Ryzen 7000, it starts at 300. So yeah, it's just a big difference. Motherboards are gonna be more expensive, DDR5 more expensive, so I don't think the majority of people out there need all of those things. Hey, what's up, Aurora? Thanks for the kind words. Guest says, please tell me the Jawa where I can buy PC is proven and reliable and I can buy it from it, please. There's actually quite a few people, even in this community that we have here, that sell on Jawa pre-built systems. I know Shauner, who's Mountain Man PCs. Maybe we can get to that at the end of the stream. If you want me to take a look at specific pre-builts on Jawa, we can do that, and I could probably advise like on some of the ones that I think are good and that would be worth the money. Yeah, water check. Make sure to hydrate. Water reminder. Drink that water. Also, fun fact, in the emoji that is the water drinking, that's actually an Aquafina bottle, which growing up, that was my favorite brand of water to buy. Not so much anymore. Now, honestly, I don't care. But when I was younger, I had a brand preference of bottled water, and it was Aquafina for some reason. I don't know why. Like, it was either Aquafina, Dasani, Arrowhead, or like Fiji were the common ones that I would see often. Water elitist, yeah. Water is just water, honestly. I think it was a preference based on how the bottle looked and the shape of the bottle. Because you know, Arrowhead water bottles, they have the really tiny top, and like you could always accidentally spill because you would crush it a little bit because it's like really thin, cheap plastic. Which, now looking back, maybe it's better that it was thin, cheap plastic because it's less waste. Whereas like the companies that use like thicker plastic, you know, they're using more plastic, which is a bad thing, right? So yeah. Would an i3 10100 work in a Gigabyte B560 DS3H? Yeah. I mean, that should work fine. You could also, if the B460s are cheaper though, you could use that as well, because you're using a 10th gen with an 11th gen chipset. But they're compatible, but the B560 might cost more. Okay, so let's quickly go over the parts so we can get this started. I had to unbox everything as I usually do for these build streams. Oh, what's up with the camera here? Let me fix it. But yeah, I unboxed everything because I had to shoot the B-roll beforehand. Oh yeah, so let me. Here's Coalition Gaming Chris's desk mat. So this is gonna be featured in the video as I unbox all the parts. But really cool, kind of like old school CRT monitor and an older, like, kind of horizontally placed desktop tower. But let's start off with the parts. So start off with the processor. We are going with the Ryzen 5 5600. Right now, it's kind of a trade-off between if you want to use this or on Intel side, if you want to use the 12400F. I've been doing a lot of Intel builds though, so this time around I wanted to go back to Ryzen. Plus, yeah, I think these are really good value because specifically the motherboards are priced a little bit lower too. So we're going with this, and let me look at how's the. Yeah, there's not much delay, right? I think this works well. Japo yay. Almost the end of the month, do I know what that means, right? Unfortunately, I think Land Party Stories is actually going to come out in October. But it's going to be at the front of my priority once I get... Because this video right here, this is a collab with Micro Center. So I have to meet like certain deadlines I tell them. Whereas like the LAN party stuff, that's just kind of like a passion personal project. So it's not like I owe anybody that. Whereas this is like I'm working with a company with. So yeah. Okay, so for cooling, this actually comes with a perfectly capable cooler. And if you want to save like 25 to 30 bucks, you can use that. But we are going to be using the ID Cooling, the SE214XT. I've used this in the past before. I think most recently I used a white version of this. But pretty typical standard Hyper 212 copy knockoff, if you want to call it that. 4 heat pipes. We got 4 copper heat pipes as well as an RGB, an addressable RGB fan, which is why there's 2 cables coming off of here. So these are never required, especially for builds that aren't using like Ryzen 7s, Ryzen 9s, i7s, i9s. These, honestly, these Ryzen 5s don't run hot at all. But this is just more for an aesthetic and acoustic reasons. For 25 bucks, you can either, you know, chuck this and just use the stock cooler, or you can get a little bit, you know, quieter fans out of this, as well as a little bit lower temperatures. It's not going to make a huge difference performance-wise. Like, you're not going to see tons of FPS gains. But I think for that price, it's definitely worth doing if you can fit it into the build. The challenge of this build was getting it under $1,000. So I was able to fit this in. So that's why I went with it. October, make it happen. Yeah, I'm trying. Trust me, I want everybody who takes part in the LAN parties are also anxiously awaiting the video release too. So I have a lot on my shoulders in terms of like getting it out so that everyone can be happy. So definitely gonna be working on it. I'm about to max out in Wrath of the Lich King level wise too. So then I'll be slowing down the grind on that. All right. So for the SSD, can we get a focus on here, please? We're going with the 1TB Western Digital Blue SN570. So this is very much a budget drive. It's not like the bottom of the barrel budget. Like there are a lot of new brands of SSDs coming out where you can get 1TB for as low as like what, 60 bucks. These usually go for around 70, but there's that brand recognition with it. For the other ones, I'm sure they're fine too, but I'm also kind of bound to what Micro Center has for the most part. So this is one of the best value drives that they had. But yeah, SSD, feel free to switch out if you were to like do a build similar to this. You can use whatever SSD or capacity you want. But my personal opinion has always been, or if you're spending around $1,000 or more, fit a 1 terabyte in it. It's definitely worth it. Because what you find is that if you're going to be using this as your boot drive, if you put it on a smaller, like let's say 250 or 500 gigabyte drive, it becomes a pain if you ever do want to upgrade drives to do like the cloning and everything like that. Whereas this one, I think 1 terabyte for a your primary boot drive is still going to be relevant for at least the next few years. So yeah, we're going 1 terabyte in this build. Jason Whitmer with the super cheap 128 gigabyte SSD plus 2 terabyte hard drive. Oh, that makes me cringe, to be honest. You can't fit anything on 128 gigabytes except for probably League of Legends. But modern day games, no way. Alright, for RAM, pretty simple. 16 gigabytes of G-Skill rep jaws, 3200 mega transfers per second. I was about to say megahertz, but based on our discussion the other week, I don't know what I'm gonna say in the video at the end of the day. I might just say 3200 CL16, just to, you know, because everyone knows what that means at least. But yeah, so this one, yeah, so these ones were pretty cheap. It was like $15 less than the RGB. This build, I'm not gonna be too crazy about the RGB. I might just set it to red because of the graphics card. Hey, what's up, Shauner? Welcome to the stream. Dr. Christopher Coonan says, I'd prefer 4 terabyte NVMe. How much are those going for now? Let's see. So those would probably be around 300 right now. Prices are SSDs keep going down, but when you get the multipliers in there, like 1 terabyte versus 4 terabytes, the scaling isn't the exact same. If anything, the higher capacities are usually more expensive because they have to, you know, be able to fit more onto the board. Yeah, 300. Okay. I don't even look at 4 terabyte drives just because that's not in my wheelhouse, but that was just like my best guess. Okay, so for the motherboard, like I said, B450. Again, the nice thing about these are you get the lower price. This build is not going to be missing out from Gen 4 PCIe. But the nice thing is that these do come ready for 5000 series, so no BIOS update required, which I think is big for first-time builders. If you're not a first-time builder and you already have a processor or a system, then it's fine. But getting that, not having to do like the BIOS flashing and all that, it's nice for especially newer builders. What's the last? I think this is the last thing. No, there's 2 more things. Alright, so for the graphics card, we are going with the Power Color. This is the Red Devil model, 6700 XT. Surprisingly, this was one of the cheaper 6700 XTs from when I was looking, and I think it might be because there is no RGB on this. We're locked into the red color scheme here. You see on the lights. So this is gonna be a red theme build because of that. But here's the card itself. This is a pretty massive card. Like, I don't have the biggest hands, but still, this is a big card. So 6700 XT all the way. Oh, by the way, question for y'all. In the latest video that I released this past weekend, when I was asking people about their what graphics card they had and what their biases were, did it seem like I had a bias myself asking the questions? I was worried as I was editing it. I was worried if I came off as an AMD fanboy, just because every time someone said Nvidia, I was like, oh, why do you like Nvidia? Like, to me, that could have come off as like an opposition type of question. Like, oh, why do you like Nvidia? Or can you give me a reason why you like Nvidia more? It just happened to be the way that the questions came out because everybody was saying they had Nvidia cards. So I didn't want to sound like a fanboy, and if I did, it was definitely not intentional, but yeah, exactly, Jason. That's what I felt. Asking people a preference when 80% dominates the market makes it seem like you have a preference, and asking a loaded question. Yeah, like it made it seem like I had a preference the other way, which I don't. Like, I've said it a million times. Like, I've used both brands. Anytime I have to like look up parts or even considering my own build, I look at both and make the decision based on, you know, the performance and features I need. But yeah. I think it, yeah, so a lot of, so the video had to be chopped down a lot just because of, it turns out I asked like 90 something people, and even if 90 something people gave a 20-second response, that makes it a very long video. But obviously some people gave longer responses than that. So some people I just had to cut off completely because they didn't really add much like on top of that when I asked them their preference. But as you saw in the video, like that one girl who said, oh, she's a streamer, she uses RTX voice, I kept those ones in. Or like that AMD developer, you know, because he liked that it's open source. So yeah, I kept as many of those answers in as I had, basically. So yeah, and Jason was also in the video. Yeah, Jason was one of the people I asked. He was the NVIDIA troll, who said he would not give FreeSync a shot. But yeah. Epileptic Gamer says, I do like the AMD GPUs. I got a 6600 and I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah, so since that video is still new, I'm getting more comments in by the day. I'm still seeing people put comments of, oh, I have driver issues with AMD. And I don't know how much of that is like representative versus how much of that is anecdotal, right? Because I'm sure people, if you go on Reddit or Google or anything right now and put NVIDIA RTX 3000 series driver problems, you're gonna come up with a bunch of people who also have NVIDIA problems too. Like, it's not, I don't think it's as bad as what a lot of people perceive it to be, was the main part that I'm getting at. Thanks for the reminder, Chris. Patrick McGovern says, I was amazed at how many people said they had driver issues because I had AMD cards for years and never had a single issue. Yeah. So I've been, again, I'm on AMD right now. I've built, you know, multiple systems that just use all of the current gen lineup of AMD cards. I've tested these systems on multiple games for a while, and I've not run into a single issue. So I do understand there are some games out there that will have issues, like some niche specific games, like maybe, I think someone said driving simulators, NVIDIA specifically does better than AMD on, which I can totally believe. But if you're playing something like Valorant or Apex or Fortnite, I have tested those games and I have not seen any particular problems on, you know, AMD more than NVIDIA, so. But yeah, that's my thoughts anyways. Hey, Lucky Man, thank you for, I'm gonna play that again. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate that. I'm not even sure if you're in the stream right now, because some people, they become members from like watching a video and then you can join membership there. So not everyone who joins membership is, you know, attends the streams, but thank you regardless. DJ says, might jump ship to AMD. Can't wait for November 3rd. Yeah, so from the comments of that video, there were a lot of people who are already saying they were upset with NVIDIA due to the latest pricing. And for other reasons too, based on the newest information on the launch. So, yeah, we'll see how many people actually jump ship to AMD, depending on what AMD delivers, right? But, I don't know. I feel like people have been saying that in previous launches before too. NVIDIA has been upping the price. AMD has been coming a little bit under them in price for similar performance. And as you can see from the Steam hardware survey, ain't nobody using AMD 6000 series cards. Like, yeah, not many at all. Alejandro says, have a question. The speed in the SSD important for gaming? Not so much. And even if you use a SATA based like 2.5-inch SSD, from my actual testing, like game load times, it's like a hair difference. If you didn't see the data in front of you, you wouldn't have noticed the difference. It's mostly going to be for the read-write transfer speeds and scrubbing and stuff like that. And like if you're video editing, transferring a lot of large files or folders with tons of tiny files in it, that's where the transfer speeds and having dedicated DRAM and stuff on the SSD is going to matter. But for gaming, for Windows boot up times, honestly, PCIe Gen 3 versus Gen 4 versus even SATA speeds, it's gonna be negligible for most people. All right. Back to going over the parts. So we actually get this build built. All right. So I don't know. Micro Center. I didn't remember seeing them have the Tough Gaming power supplies for a while, but just the Tough series from Asus. If you like to live vicariously by the PSU tier list, this is one of the most inexpensive B tier power supplies that you can find. This is just one shy of the highest tier power supplies. For this, you do get a 6-year warranty. This is only 80 bronze, as well as this is not fully modular. So you could get those things in other power supplies, but you might have to jump down a tier with regards to quality. So it all depends on what you want to do. But honestly, for me, not being modular is not, or being non-modular is not the end of the world. Power supply cases have so big of power supply basements and like room on the backside now. This is an issue. And if anything, and you guys are gonna probably hear me repeat this because these are gonna be talking points for the main video when it goes out. But so my issue is with a lot of the times with the modular power supplies is I misplace cables, and maybe that's just an issue of someone who has more than one PC. But what if you put your power supplies in a box and then you forgot where that box was, the extra cables, right? So then you're gonna have to deal with either buying replacement cables or trying to mix and match ones from other power supplies, which is a no-no, because that could, if the wiring is different, it could damage your computer, right? Whereas having all the cables here attached to it, you're never gonna have to deal with, oh, where were those cables that I didn't need when I built my computer a year ago, but now I need because I'm upgrading it with more hard drives or more, you know, an AIO or something, and it needs different connectors. So yeah, with regards to the whole modular power supply thing, while it's nice, to me, it's not completely necessary. And I think having a good unit would be at a good price would be a good enough reason to not, or to forego on the modularity, or even the semi-modularity. Yeah, I would say an SFX 450 would be enough for a 5600 and a 3060 or 6600. Yeah, that'll work. You're not gonna have much room if you decide to upgrade to a much more powerful graphics card down the line, but for those, that would work. All right, last but not least, the case. How we doing on stream time? Somehow we're 40 minutes in the stream already because of the delay in the game. Alright, so we are using, this is a case that goes for usually 50 or 60 bucks. And it's from Montech. It's the Air 100. I've used the Air 1000 before. I've not built in the Air 100. I have an Air 100 in the studio because when I bought the undercover pre-built from Zach's Tech Turf, the build that I bought came in this, but I have not personally built in this case myself. So I know what the features are, but we'll see how, you know, just in terms of the working space that it has and cable management, I wanted to experience because this case has 4 included ARGB fans. We're talking about real ARGB that can be connected to the motherboard and controlled via software, not with the remote control, not with a hub that you can only press the reset button to change between a certain amount of color schemes. This is true ARGB with the 3-pin header. So yeah, and it jumps around in price, but I think the features in this case make it really good. In particular, I feel like I've talked about this a lot, but this hinge case design, like, look how convenient it was right there. I didn't have to turn 2 thumb screws or even 4 thumb screws or anything. I just pulled the tempered glass off, no problem whatsoever. It's a toolless design and it's super convenient. So we'll take that off. And then, unfortunately, so we talk about the good things, like, you know, the 4 included ARGB fans, which those, if you buy generic brands ones, those, you know, 3 fans by themselves from a no-name brand still cost like 25 bucks. But this has it all included already. It does have grommets in here, so that you're not seeing a ton of cables in the background there. It does have the power supply shroud with the complete cover on it, so I think Zach preferred something like that so that he doesn't have to put a little vinyl on there. I don't really care, but this one, yeah, it's gonna be covering the power supply. It does have breakaway expansion slot covers though, so that's one of the cheap things about this case. They have to cut corners somewhere, right? Like, to get a case anywhere from 50 to 75 bucks while giving you all these other features like a hinge design and ARGB, you gotta save money elsewhere. So they chose to do it with these, as well as I've talked about these in videos before too, but you know these thumb screws that have the plastic grip covers on it as opposed to just being a full, like, completely metal. So yeah, these are the plastic covered thumb screws, which again, not the end of the world, but probably some cost saving measures there when built to scale and in bulk. And then here's the back side of the system. So we do have pretty basic, no like plastic cable channels or anything like that. They do have included Velcro straps already put in place, so you just loosen those up and run your cables down that same route. As well as, if you look to the side here, a decent amount of room, almost one like finger knuckle, I guess, worth of space. Probably a little bit less than an inch. So yeah, not gonna have problems getting the back panel on. Don't break the USB 3.0 header, says Kevin. No. Yeah, USB 3 headers are the biggest pain. Okay. So we're gonna start the build off with the motherboard. Everything on the motherboard until it's ready to go into the system. Alright, so let me make sure I have chat. Braythorn, what's up? Oh, and you guys probably saw Braythorn in the video this past weekend too. He gave a really good response, but due to the, unfortunately, Braythorn, due to the, you know, the video being as long as it was already and having to fit everybody else in, I had to pull out, like, I had to cut all the ums and uhs, as well as pull out the most important parts of your message. But I think I, for the most part, got it all there. But thank you for being a part of the, you know, the questions. Also, if any of y'all are looking for pre-builds, Braythorn does a lot of content on it, so definitely check out his channel. He had looked at a lot of companies that even I haven't even heard of, just because there's tons of pre-built companies out there, but he does a really good in-depth job. He has like 20 to 30 minute videos going over everything about certain companies. So yeah, we all do and a lot. No worries. Okay, so I need to get the IO shield out here before I forget, and we don't need any SATA. I don't believe we need. We might need these. Alright, see how good this camera can zoom in. Oh, fun. Alright, come on. There we go. That's a good view of it. Alright, so we're gonna get the processor in first. So I've never really given it too much thought until right now, but the way that they have these plastic pieces mounted on here, it's for the old style of AMD coolers that latch on and have like a lever arm thing. But given that basically all of the Ryzen processors come with their stock cooler with the 4 screws and this having to be removed every time. I'm curious why they decided to leave this on here. Especially for motherboards that are like definitely catered towards like more of the enthusiast consumer side of things. For like pre-builts and stuff, I would understand why they would leave this on, because they'll probably throw in whatever crappy cooler. But for a board like this, my only reasoning that I can think of is they wanted to leave this on so that you could at least hold on to the back plate, because otherwise the back plate just kind of falls through to the back, right? But the fact that we never use these on these gaming PC builds, it just feels kind of like a waste. They always go into a box. I have tons of these saved up, never to be used again. But yeah, all this stuff right here. I just have like, I usually throw it back into the motherboard box. So I just have a bunch of motherboard boxes filled with them. Alright, so we gotta do this ID cooling, which, where is the mounting hardware for that? Lucky Man 1, ain't it about time you got an electric driver? Honestly, does anyone, what? Let me ask this question. So I'm curious what everyone else prefers to use. Prefers or actually does use. I actually like ratcheting. The sound is nice, but I could also use it for much more. What I've seen from the electric screwdrivers is that you could, I feel like it's mostly for small stuff on, like, let's say that like the SSD or stuff like that, or maybe the standoffs. But do those electric ones have enough torque to drive in like case fans, the one where you have to eat into the plastic? Yeah, like Shauner just brings up a good point. The WoW stick doesn't have the power to do case fans, so you're basically, you can't do everything with the one screwdriver. So I mean, I still use, it depends on what is in reach at the time for me, but like here's the, you know, the ever so popular, what did this come with, like a Be Quiet cooler or something like that, but something with a really long shaft to be able to get through, especially something like this. I think we're actually no, this wasn't designed like that, but some coolers like the Scythe coolers, you have to be able to get this into like a small hole to screw it in, but this cooler doesn't have that. So all right, let's see, what are we doing here with regards to the coolers. I like coolers that you don't really have to look through the manuals for. You could figure it out, but let's see. Yeah, this is Intel because it's a square shape. So we're going to be going through here. Let me see if I can zoom in more. So essentially what this is going to be is we're going to put these on here. And then, where's the arms? Did I misplace a bag? Oh no. Please tell me I did not misplace a bag. Come on, this has to be AM4 compatible. Yep, it is. But it's not going to be compatible if I misplace the metal brackets that are supposed to hold it in place. Don't click that. Yeah, so what's supposed to happen, How did... When I was unboxing everything, I wonder if it drops out. How it's supposed to work is there's supposed to be did they change the design of this? So this is the bracket. Alright, so how this works is there's a square bracket. I could have sworn they used to only have 2 arms that come down on the side here. But now this square bracket serves both Intel and AMD. So you put this on here and then you screw it down into place with 4 screws. Braythorn says, real talk, I can't imagine shipping a bunch of PCs like you guys on Jawa do. Gives me anxiety. Yeah. I mean, every PC that I've ever shipped for either, like, because I helped someone build a system or for a giveaway, I've never had issues. Knock on wood. Yeah, I've never had issues with that. This is a really interesting system. I'll show you guys up close. But maybe I'm getting it confused with the Vetroo, which I think I built with more recently. But let's see. I built with ID cooling in the past too, but I could have sworn they didn't do it like this. All right, so this is what we're working with. So you see how this screw barely holds on to, there's a notch in this bracket. So the screw just goes on like that. Whereas what I was expecting was there just to be like basically a bar that runs this way that has this as well. But maybe they updated the design, or maybe I'm confusing it with the Vetroo. But yeah, let me tighten these all the way now. Yeah, I think that's really different based on, yeah, maybe they changed it so that it's simpler, less parts to send out. But okay, then this is really simple. We're gonna use the thermal paste that came with it. We're gonna use this thermal paste in a bag. Yes. Come on. What is the zoom? Wait, my autofocus should be on. But yeah, we got thermal paste in a bag here. Let me get this on. Get the cooler on, and then we got these spring screws to tighten on. And that's pretty simple. The installation of this is very easy. Doback slaps with another 5 gifted subs. Thank you. Braythorn says, see, that's what I'm talking about. I shipped a PC with an NHD 15 and it shifted, so temps sucked. And you're saying that was with Instapack? That is a very big cooler. Yeah, I would feel pretty worried if I was sending something that was hanging off the motherboard, I guess, because the foam isn't completely rigid. It does have some flex to it, and if you were to drop it from a tall enough height, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of momentum continuing in that, big beefy cooler. Alright, just gonna make sure to tighten this all the way down. Okay. So now we get the fan onto the front, which always has these. They come with these little brackets so that you can fit. You can do push-pull if you want to add another fan, but we're just using the included fan, so you just need 2 of these, and these can sometimes be the easiest things or sometimes the hardest things to put on and off. I think outside of the PC case, it's super easy, but once you're in the PC case and you're constrained to room and stuff like that, getting these on or off and on, like if you were to make a change to it, it becomes more of a little like a nightmare. But just clip these on like so, and then boom, got the cooler on, the CPU in, we're good there. Alright, what's going on? The chat's blowing up. We got Braythorn with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. We're gonna have a bunch of notifications popping up on stream for a while. Hey, TwitchCon is coming up. When is that? You know, so surprisingly, I thought we were over this by now, but I received a few comments about why everyone was wearing masks. One person said, oh, you must be living in California. Play on words between communists and California for being progressive, I guess. But, what's TwitchCon's, vaccination and masking policy looking like? Because I think some people actually a lot of people had an issue with it for PAX West. And TwitchCon, I could have sworn they had a certain policy and now they're changing it. So one side is mad and the other side is happy that they're getting the way that they want. But honestly, I don't know. I feel like wearing the mask wasn't a big issue at all. And a lot of people are making a way bigger deal out of it than not. And even if it has a slight chance of keeping people from getting sick, then I think it's worth it. But, you know, not everyone agrees with that, which is, I guess, fine. But when it comes to public health, it's a weird area. Members only stream 3 week? What do you mean? It's mask and vaccine mandated. Yeah, it's a piece of cloth. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. Yeah, I kind of, like, that's my thoughts on it. It's people have made it more political than it really should be. Countries like Asia have been wearing masks for years just out of common decency, but I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too difficult for some people to handle. So I'm sure I have followers that definitely don't agree with my stance on that, but it's fine. 1 second, I thought my wife was calling for me. Yeah, like outside of the con, there is no mandate. Like in Washington State, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. But because this is like a known crowded gathering where people are gonna be standing in line next to each other and stuff, that's what they went with it to, like, you know, for precaution. But it was weird because in the video, I didn't mention a single thing about masks at all. Like, that's not the point of the video. Yet some people's comments were only about the masks. Not about if they like AMD versus NVIDIA. Not about what was in the video. Like, not a single person in the video, like, made any comments about masks. So, it's weird how it's in the forefront of some people's minds. As soon as they see it, it's like they get triggered by it. Alright, we're installing the memory now. Very simple. I believe it, yep. These 2 slots. KL130, yeah. I mean, when I go to the grocery store now, I would say 25% of people still wear masks. So it's not like if me and my wife do wear masks when we go out still. But when we do that, it's not like we feel out of place because there is a fair amount of people still doing it. So it's not like we stick out like a sore thumb. All right, time for the NVMe. Okay. I'm gonna have to. So I did need that standoff and that screw, and then I could put the heatsink over it. But where did I? Oh, there it is. Let's see. Where did I drop it? I hate how much plastic waste is used. Like, they had an individual bag. Maybe it's for sorting purposes. Yeah, because they each have their own little part numbers. You see that? These bags have part numbers on them. But the fact that you have this much bag for this... Look at this thing. You can barely see the screw in here. But there's 2 individual bags for it. It's so annoying, like, how much waste this produces. Not even just from an environmental standpoint, but from like how much, you know, trash gets built up on the side here as I start putting this together, and then I'm throwing all the extra trash on the side. Like, it seems very wasteful. Okay, what was... Oh. Did I never ask the question? Whoops, I was supposed to ask this question. Sorry about that. When I thought I hit enter, I didn't even realize the poll wasn't going. Alright, how are we doing on time? We're a little bit over an hour in the stream. Because we've been talking and switching, but I think we should be able to still finish this within the 2 hours. Alright, everything is on the motherboard. Let me get these connected, but we can zoom out a little bit here. So we got the memory, we got the SSD, got the cooler, CPU. Time to put it in the case, but let me get these RGB connectors, and actually no, I'll do that later so I could route it behind, because these are, look how long this is. This can basically reach almost anywhere, so I'm gonna have to pull it tight behind the tray, so I'll connect these later. But let's get the case on the table. And clear out all this stuff that I'm not using on the side. Alright, first things first, so I don't forget. Putting on the rear IO shield. More plastic. See, I wouldn't even consider myself a power builder, but like someone like, let's say Shauna or even Jason or anyone else who flips a lot of PCs. Do you ever just get overwhelmed with how much trash and stuff that you have by the end of the build? It's like every single thing has to come in a little plastic bag and all that. And if you're doing like multiple builds a week, like all the boxes and all that stuff, it piles up. Yeah. I like to keep all that stuff for as long as possible just in case a return is needed. But if you're doing a lot of systems, that's a lot of stuff you would have to keep. Like both boxes and the little baggies. Because if you return a motherboard, I would think you would want to put it back into the little baggies everything came in. So long as one has a dumpster, I don't think many people have dumpsters out back. Unless you're dumping illegally at a place that you're not supposed to. But most people just have one trash bin and one recycling bin. Which, recycling for me comes once every 2 weeks. So the boxes definitely pile up. Jonathan Talks Hardware says 10th gen Intel with this cooler, the 214 XT, is terrible. I'm trying to think what's so bad about it. Aside from you have to put the back piece on, but I don't remember it being too bad. Shauna does have a dumpster. Not for me, but I've definitely done my fair share to fill it, yeah. You're not supposed to be dumping unless it was, you know, part of that business or whatever, but yeah. I just hate those tiny, yeah, the little fan holders. Honestly, so remember how Cooler Master does it? Cooler Master has the plastic brackets with the little, like, sticky pads that go on the fan. I prefer these little spring clips more than the way at least Cooler Master does it, because it's metal and it's basically gonna last forever, whereas the Cooler Master one, I bought like used coolers before, and the tabs can break off because they're plastic, as well as they could be a pain to put on, or to take off specifically. Once those plastic clips go in, it's way harder to take off than these spring clips, because these at least have some give and play. Like these ones, you know, it's pretty easy. You just pull back on it like this, and then boom, you have it off already. But for the plastic ones, I feel like it's almost impossible to take off, or it's really annoying to take off. But yeah, I guess there's pros and cons to both ways. But all right, let's get this rear shield on. These fan cables always get in the way for this top rear fan. The cables always get in the way of this IO shield. You gotta pull them out. Alright, that's in. Do we have all the standoffs we need in there? We're missing 2 of them. Okay. Let's see. They're hidden in this hard drive tray, which is struggling coming out here. Alright, so we need our standoffs as well as our screws. Jason Whitmer asks, when will you start posting shorts? You have years of content to harvest. Yeah, so, okay. Let me finish the poll, and this is actually a good poll to ask, because what's the point of making shorts if nobody watches it, right? But I guess with shorts, you're gonna reach an audience well beyond your subscriber base. That's the point of it. Shorts is just like tons of people watch it regardless of if they follow a certain follower or not. So, all right, let's take a look at this poll first. So the poll result shows what screwdriver do you use to build PCs, and it looks like most people, basically 3/4 of the chat, are still using standard. Ratcheting is beating electric. So yeah, I have no, I guess, desire to go to electric. That's just, I think ratcheting feels basically can achieve everything and more than electric can. Okay. Alright, so just to poll you all, I'm just curious, how many people actually watch shorts? Like YouTube shorts. I'm not saying TikTok, because I'm definitely not going to make a jump over to TikTok. I don't think, anyways, anytime soon. But for shorts content, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you watch YouTube shorts? I mostly watch the Road Rage Instant Karma shorts. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if this comes with the... Yep, it does. Oh, and this is the metal one too. So, to put in these standoffs, what they do is they give you this little adapter that has a Phillips and then a hex drive on here, which the hex is the same size as the standoff. So this one they gave, some companies, they give the little cheap plastic ones, but this is actually a metal one. So, kind of surprising to see for a low budget case like this. I have so many of these and they always prove to be useful when you have to put on or remove standoffs. So, it doesn't hurt to have more. We have to add 2 additional standoffs on the side here, specifically for micro ATX. Thanks for the water reminders. The few that YouTube spam my home screen with, yes, clickbait basically. Yeah, even with shorts, the clickbait has to be even worse than normal long form videos. Because of the short amount of time people watch and how fast they scroll, and who the audience that is catered to, basically a wider viewer base than your typical viewers. Yeah, you have to go extra clickbait on the title and thumbnail, which is what I've noticed. When I watch YouTube Shorts, I don't have like specific sessions like, oh, I'm gonna go watch Shorts for the next 15-20 minutes now, like I would with YouTube. But because they throw it in, I do catch my Shorts usually when I'm like on the toilet or if I'm quickly eating and just randomly scrolling. But I don't ever go out of my way to watch a short. I will watch them if they're clickbaity enough to show up on my feed at the right time. Okay, I'm trying to think of if I have to do any pre-routing, which I don't think I have to on this. The biggest issue that I found that slows me down is if, for whatever reason, the space up here is really tight. Once you get the motherboard on here, if you can't get this 8-pin connector or have enough room to put it in, but it looks like we should be okay with this. I should be able to fit it up after the motherboard goes in, but that's just stuff to always consider when, the order in which you piece things. But I usually like going motherboard in right after everything is on. All right. There's one tech YouTuber that uses clickbait price thumbnails on PC build video. I'm not saying who it is, but a lot of people in the comment section fall for it. Oh man. Yeah, I wouldn't want you to throw shade or talk, even though I've brought that up before. Specifically about that one video that Linus did, but it was just that one video that he did it on. For the most part, everything else that he's done is pretty representative of the actual price. But yeah, I'm not surprised that the lower your PC price, the more enticing it is for people to click on it. So if you could somehow convince yourself that that this is representative, then yeah, you're gonna get more views. Alright, because I don't want you guys to just watch me screwing things all day, I'm just gonna get the main points, especially in case I have to take anything out or change anything up. I'm just gonna do the 4 corners and 1 center. Because in the ASMR build videos, definitely screwing in all the different various screws is what takes up the most time in a build. Uh-oh. So I got distracted and I just realized something. I already got the motherboard screws in, but because these are breakaway, I haven't broken them away yet. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, there's no capacitors in the way. I should be able to do that. Come on. Break off already, would ya? I see. Uh-oh, where's your anti-static rubber wristband? Not necessary. I bet. Okay, so let's take a look. People actually. Okay, so more than half of the people answering the poll watch YouTube Shorts content. So now, that I'm actually surprised by that split. I thought it would be the other way around, with the numbers switched. Come on. So we're good on there. Let me get one more screw in. Actually, I'll get this one in too because it's gonna be not accessible once the graphics card is in. All right, new poll question. All right, time for the. Let me move these boxes. Let's get that power supply in, and we're pretty much good to go after that in the graphics card. So, with a little bit of cable management. Yeah, so I still get comments on either both old videos and new videos to this day of people asking about. Oh, did I miss one? I got all the screws. I did not get this. I thought I got this top corner. Maybe not. There we go. Yeah, Ozzy's been really busy. I think he has a lot of like extracurriculars in real life. I know he's pretty big in like church and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's been pretty busy. But yeah, what I was saying is I still get comments on like, especially the ASMR build videos. There's always at least one, if not more, comments of why aren't you either why are you standing on carpet, because I always build on carpet. I'm on carpet right now, actually. There's carpet down here. Like, this is, oh, you can't see it. Oh, this could have broken. This just fell off the shelf, the Jones soda bottle. But ooh, that was very lucky. I could have gotten red soda all over the table. But yeah, I'm building a carpet right now. I'm not standing on an anti-static mat or anything. And yeah, like Christopher Coonan said, modern day components are pretty resistant to especially low levels of like potential shock. Holy dough back slaps. Are you kidding me? You already had the super or the gifts earlier today. And now with the $100 dono. Thank you. And you reminded me to drink water. My water is empty. So I need to go get some water. YouTube is telling me to right now is a good time to insert an ad. But because Doughback Slaps with the MVP $100 dono, I'm not going to run an ad. So you can just watch the RGB strips go in the background while I get a refill. Give me 1 second. All right, got some water refill. Oh my goodness, thank God. This could have broken when it just fell off the shelf right there. That would have been bad. But Doback slaps. Thank you very much. Yes, I still remember we gotta play CSGO. Doback slaps. What other games do you play that we could play together? Because CSGO is one of those games where, as a newbie cannot just pick up CSGO and do decently at it. It is that type of game where it's like all or nothing. You either know what's going on and play well or not. Whereas other games, if you suck, you can still jump in and do a decent job. So let me know if you do want to play any other title that is not CSGO, or I would even be down to play Fortnite. I got that Goku skin, so yeah. We heard your P stream. We heard all of it. Yeah, sure you did. Dead by Daylight. Okay. Wait, I'm thinking Back for Blood. Dead by Daylight is the one where one person's the monster and the other people basically are playing against the monster trying to escape, right? Yeah, we played Dead by Daylight at the LAN parties before. Also, your girlfriend Melissa, is that why you donate so much? Because we share a common significant other's name? My wife is Melissa, so for some reason you having a girlfriend named Melissa makes this all the better. Dude. Okay, Linus is a little bit heavier than me, but I would still box him for a tech tuber boxing match. Too bad I don't have enough clout to do that, though. If Linus boxes, it's going to be someone with equal or similar level of clout. And I'm just not there, unfortunately. But I would totally be down to box Linus. Not even for the clout reasons. This doesn't even have to be televised. It would just be fun. But Linus weighs way more than me. I could have sworn he was lighter, but I think in a video or tweet he said he was like 170 something, which he's not that much taller than me. He says it's on his legs, like it's on his thighs. He has kids, he won't fight to the death, he'll win. Alright, let's get this power supply in. We are so close to getting this build finished, and I kind of have to finish because we're doing stir fry for dinner, and I have to help out a little bit. So I'm sure Melissa is hungry right now. I don't want to keep her waiting too long. Does anyone else find this to be a little annoying? I guess I'm trying to show everything that's going on. Putting it vertically would solve this problem, but when you have to hold the power supply, because there's like a gap in the back, right? Like if you put it straight flush, you can't put it in. You have to like lift it ever so slightly to line up the holes of this like kind of chunky, heavy power supply. Until you at least get one screw in. And then you're good to go. You hate violent sports? Would you... I'm not sure if I would... something like... I would say boxing is more tame compared to something like MMA. MMA actually looks super violent, but boxing maybe is because of the bigger gloves. As well as, you know, there's no takedowns, there's no kicks, there's no elbows. It's just purely, just, you know, your fists. I don't view it as violent or nearly anywhere near as violent as something, say, bare knuckle boxing or MMA and things like that. So the funny thing is, I kind of became a boxing fan and got into watching real boxing after that whole YouTube boxer thing. What was that, 4 years ago now? After that all took place, like when KSI first fought Logan Paul. During that, because I think it was hosted by DAZN, they were showing, it was DAZN or Showtime, I forget. But they were showing actual boxing like ads in between, and that's when I caught wind of the younger boxers of this generation, like Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, those guys. So I actually watch boxing almost every weekend now when there's like a fighter that I enjoy watching and following. So yeah, but I was never really into watching like combat sports prior to that. But funny enough, it was YouTube boxing that got me into watching more boxing, like real boxing. Ryan Garcia is so good. Oh yeah, Michael Reeves in the Creator Clash, he became a little monster. Yeah, he fought Graham Stephan, who didn't really put up too much of a fight. But yeah, so I enjoy watching both skilled competitors slugging it out, as well as people with not so much skill try to figure it out in the boxing ring. To me, it's all good entertainment. All right, we've got this in, and there's actually a lot of cables because this is like a higher wattage unit. There are more cables coming off of it, so we should be able to fit it just fine though. So let me kind of get an idea of where I want to put everything. This is gonna go through there. Once I move the cable to the side, we need to get this. All right, this is for CPU. And where's PCI or let me see. Okay, there they are. PCIe's right there. All right. So this needs to go up there. So let me fish all this through real quick, and then we'll get the graphics card in, and then we're basically done. Which didn't take too long. Again, this is a very simple build. Oh yeah, Shane. Yeah, sorry that happened to you in the past. I totally understand though. That totally makes sense. What parts is he putting in the case, Mike? I guess for the specs, I didn't put the exact brand of everything. But it gives you a general idea of what the parts are, just not the specific models. Okay, so let's undo this. Let's just see how this goes. Regarding the cable management side of things, I have to open these up, these Velcro straps, so that I could get stuff through and grouped up to them. But these are very short, actually. There's not much room to work with, so I wonder if it's gonna fit everything without and still be able to go in here. Like, all right, yeah, that'll work. Okay, we got that there. We have this going up in the corner. We do need SATA for the fan hub, or an RGB controller that comes with this. The front panel headers right here, which always go down here. I do have a PC giveaway coming up. It's not gonna be this system, but it's gonna be a system comparable to this, and then a lower end one too. And you could probably guess if I say that there's gonna be 2 PCs to be given away. You probably have an idea of what I'm actually talking about. Where's the USB 3.0 header at? Is it at the bottom or the side? This one is at the bottom. Oh, in the worst place too. There's no hole right below it. Dang it. Actually, what's the best hole to get that? Yeah, it's not lined up perfectly in the basement. My niece. I thought you built your niece a system, Jason. Did you lie? You said you already built her one, I thought. Alright, we got HD audio, which is always in the far corner. And then USB, which is normally in the center. Without checking the alignment, I'm just gonna route it through the center here. Alright. So now I need to start bunching these up, the unused ones, and shoving it between the hard drive bay and the power supply, which it should all kind of fit nicely in here. I do need one SATA cable for the hub. We'll pull that out. Cable management is one of those things where it looks messy for the longest time, but once everything starts coming together and you start pulling things tight and shoving it into, you know, spaces that fit, it cleans up pretty quickly. So right now, I would say this looks pretty messy, especially this region down here. But just give me a little bit of time and we will get that all figured out. Yeah, because these cables are very flexible. They can easily fit into like all the different nooks and crannies around the case. So Molex, I guess that's one thing that you will likely never really have to use in a modern day system. And it just kind of wasted space for cables. Let me put this tray back in here so I can also put things in. Yeah, so we don't have a hard drive, so we can also put stuff into here to get it cleaner back here. And then... Did I already route this in? Yep. So we're good on PCIe power. Okay, so I got everything, all of those things tucked away. Now I just need to flip to the front and get everything connected before we start tidying up the cable management. So let's get the CPU power up here first. Alright, got that. 24 pin ATX, got that. See if I can show any of this. It might be too dark. Yeah, it's way too dark. While we bring the light. That should do. Make it a little bit better. Wait, what did Zach Burkhart say? So Jason said, homie, most of the world still use hard drives. We are a small sample. I didn't know people still use mechanical drives. My PC doesn't have a cage for them. I'm trying to think. I feel like every case that I've seen recently, there's still at least room for 1 or 2 drives. If there's not a dedicated cage, there's still places to mount it to like the bottom surface at least. Like, I don't recall any case that I've worked with anyways recently that does not have any room for 3.5-inch mechanical drive mounting, but maybe some of the newest ones have. Maybe the more premium expensive ones have that because they assume you're just gonna have only SSDs anyways, so I routed this through the wrong hole. You guys forget that most of the world is not a first world country. Yeah, that's a good point. Not everyone has the convenience of paying more money to wait like a less amount of time. I remember my brother didn't have space for a hard drive, so I just mounted inside the ceiling case. Yeah, you can mount a hard. I have mounted hard drives, doing that exact same thing using like the mesh. Like if the case has big enough mesh holes. This is actually what I did with the Q300L from Cooler Master. It only had room for, I believe, one 3.5-inch drive, which is mounted at the bottom. But I was able to mount like 2 at the top, using the holes that were already there and using screws with big enough heads that the drives can hang off there. So yeah, you can get creative with the methods of mounting drives if there's nothing there for it to be mounted with. But okay, if I can get this light to stay. This is a magnetic light, but it's only magnetic on certain sides. I just want to get the graphics card in here, but I'm just like struggling with being able to show all these cables being plugged in. Alright, USB right here. Alright, front side. This case does not have reset because the reset button is the light changing. So does anyone use the reset button on their computers versus just using, you know, the power button? I feel like this has been a poll question before. I need to drink some water. I feel like I don't often. Like, I would either just do it through software, like, you know, in Windows. Or I just shut down my computer once a week. No, I don't even shut it down. I reset it once a week, but not by pressing the button. But I guess if you're troubleshooting, reset could be more useful. But I personally do not press that button that often. Jason, I don't even need power buttons. Just keep the case open and short the pins every time. Oh, I forgot to change the camera angle. Yeah, so I'm just getting the front panel header buttons and stuff connected, and then USB 3.0, which is kind of a pain of a cable because it's not super flexible, pretty thick with 2 C's. So when the holes don't align, you gotta flex it a bit more. But I'm just trying to get it in without it being stupid. It doesn't want to go in nicely, and it doesn't want to come out nicely. Like, whoever came up with USB 3.0 header, what were they thinking? USB-C and USB 2 is so much better. Like, what happened to make 3 as crappy as it is? Alright, we got pretty much everything in. Oh, I need to connect the CPU fan. We're almost there, everyone. Oh, okay. Yeah. So star 5328 opted to wire the reset button instead of using it. Yeah, because the RGB isn't really required. Oh, I need to plug this one in the back because it has a hub, and I want everything to be in sync. But yeah, because this case, it comes with real ARGB fans. You don't have to use the hub. You can use motherboard software. So, yeah, you could get your reset button back if you want. Alright, we got that in. How are we doing on time? 6:42, okay. We're not gonna have that much time for Twitter tonight, if at all, unfortunately. Maybe I can take a quick look and cherry pick some stuff. But I really want to get the graphics card in now. Alright. So, here is the size difference. This is, I mean, it'll fit, but I think it's gonna take some like rotation to get it in. I looked at the specs for the card and for the case, but as you can see, it pretty much fills up the entire opening. Like here. Ah! Wow, I just dropped it. I'm trying to show a better view, but yeah, I guess I could put it on the basement here. It is pretty much the exact size of the opening, which means you can fit a little bit longer of a card in because usually these lips, you know, are here to attach the panel on, but you do have a little bit of room afterwards. You just have to like go in at an angle and then rotate it a bit. Yeah. Star says, yeah, but then I hooked up the SATA power to the hub, which cut my control of ARGB, I think, huh? Wait. You hooked up the SATA power to the hub, which, is that how this would work? I thought the SATA power was to power the hub so that you can get power to the fans. I think it's more of if the hub has its 3-pin ARGB header plugged in or not is what cuts power to it versus, you know, using what's on the motherboard. Yeah, so we go in diagonally like this, and then we twist and turn to get it just right. Oh, there's a thing on here. Give me 1 second. I gotta undo. Come on. What's in the way? There we go. Alright, so we good on there. I'm just gonna do one for there until I completely finish it for the B-roll and stuff, just in case there's anything wrong. I should have routed 2. Nice work, Linus. I know that was a pretty short distance I dropped it, but I did drop it kind of onto the motherboard, but it should be fine. It should be fine. Alright, we have to run 2 cables because, actually we don't have to, but we have 2 cables, so we can run them. The 6700 XT, I would be comfortable with daisy chaining it. I might change it to the daisy chain depending on, how this looks. Because these have the pigtails on them, so having 2 of these is a little bit overkill, right? Just so that you use one connector on each. So we'll see how it looks, and I might just opt for one. Oh crap. Braythorn says, oh wait, where did it go? You're in good company. I almost dropped the 3090 Ti on stream last night. Almost dropped it. Did you drop it but still catch it? The expression on Linus's face every time he drops something in perpetuates the meme. Come on. This is once the PC starts getting filled and there are things in the way, this is when it starts becoming more frustrating to change anything up. Like, I'm trying to route this other cable through the basement hole, but okay, here we go. Yeah, I don't know how clean I can make this look with two of these pigtailed cables. All right. Here we go. All right, so we have the card ready to go. So we'll get two of the primary connectors on there. Enter this. Thanks for the water reminder, Chris. Star 5328. The ARGB hub has a connection to the mobile and a yeah, it does. But the one to the motherboard is just for the lighting. It's not for the fans itself. Pretty sure the SATA powers the fan. Alright, so that actually doesn't look... Oh, I think it didn't clip in. I still need to do the connectors for that hub. I just wanted to, for the most part, finish off the main parts of the build before getting into the tightening of the cable management. Right, so the fans don't go into... Oh, yeah, where do the fans go in? Shoot. I realized that. This is just ARGB here, so all these fan connectors, yep, got it. Where are these all going to? That's a good point. I wasn't even thinking about fan power. So here's the ARGB input. They are all connected to each other. And oh, it's got a splitter on here. Okay. Yep, here we go. So it's got a 1 to 4-way splitter, it looks like. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. All right. So it's a 4-way splitter. Goes to a 3-pin, even though these are. Oh, the fans are also 3-pin. Okay. Got it. You don't like the setup, and you bought different fans and hubs? Yeah. This isn't. Oh man, the way that this. Where's the closest fan header that I can plug this into? I think I'm gonna have to finish up the cable management off of stream because I want to see if we get initial power on with no issues. But that cable managing this is gonna take like at least 15 to 20 minutes alone, and that's gonna be very boring. So let me get this on so that at least we can get some lights when we power it on. And we'll go up here to this header. And the system fan is also up here, so I think that works out. We're gonna ignore cable management for a bit. Alright, get all the cables pulled a little bit tighter. This is pretty much good to go on the front side anyways. The back side, not so much, but front side. And I'll probably zip tie or something these to pull them down. So, alright. For the most part, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm just gonna plug this in, power it on, see if we can get all the lights working, which they should. Everything else is plugged in. Alright. Where's that power cable? Okay. Okay. This thing just explodes. The rear fan. I wonder if the ARGB connector got loose. But okay, so we take a look here, which I gotta be pretty careful by holding it up. So all those fans are in sync because they're all coming out of the hub. The rear fan though, the ARGB either got loosened or disconnected, so let me power this down and address that. I'll give you a different angle once I get that figured out. Alright, so when you take a look. I'm gonna be doing a full round of benchmarks with this at 2 resolutions too. So that'll be in the full video when that comes up. Oh, now I can change to this angle, and let me read chat too. Man, it's hard to keep up with chat while I'm still trying to build this and not get distracted. Yeah, I honestly, Sapphire makes really good looking cards, and all their cards have been solid from what I've used on AMD side of thing. But Power Color, I think, just based on the cards I've used most recently, I think I have more of a, if I had a brand preference between the two, I think I would pick Power Color over Sapphire at this point. They both make great cards, and I'm sure like people wouldn't even notice the difference in their own systems if they had the two. But Power Color, I think price wise, I've seen that they have some of the lower end offerings at, like, you know, cheaper cards, but the performance are all usually really good in terms of like the cooling aspect of it. Okay, it was disconnected, so let me power it back on again. Yeah, so here's the system. Oh, I gotta pull it off to the side over here. So here's the system. Looks good to go, but you see how the card is a fixed red? So I'm definitely gonna need to, you can't even see it that well. You see how the card is a fixed red? It's got the red LEDs there. So I'm just gonna set these all to red/red orange and make it a red and black theme build. Pretty simple here. Let me show. Actually, this is the LED button, right? I can set it to red right now. Okay, here we go. This is what the build looks like. Let me pull up the... It's gonna work? I need to be on the Wi-Fi. There you go. There's a better view. Sorry, the monitor was turning in the way. Did you know Lisa Su and Jensen Hong were related? Yeah. I haven't been able to find the exact family tree, but I know they're related in some way. Which is kind of crazy. The CEO of two companies, two like opposing companies, are related. But yeah, I don't know how it, cause I don't think it's as close as like only 1 or 2 degrees of separation away. It's more like they're kind of like distant relatives, aren't they? Why is my droid cam not working? I want to show. Shoot, have I configured droid cam for the system? I don't know if I have yet. I love how Dobax Labs' message is still there. Like, he donated so much that I basically went the entire duration of the stream. Thank you, by the way. He is her older uncle. I mean cousin, my bad. Wait, is that how they're related? Straight up, they shared the same grandmother? Because that's how cousins work, right? It's not like this grandma was a cousin to this grandpa, and then that's when it starts becoming like less direct line of blood, you know? But is it really... He is her older uncle. So... Yeah, so they share the same... His... Wait. I gotta draw this out on a tree. This is now starting to confuse me. Oh, come on. Why is the... It's not working. I'm just gonna have to do it the manual way. Oh, no I don't. I'm dumb. I can remove this, which is the point of having this camera. Alright, gotta be careful. Alright. So here's the build. So we got it. Actually, that red goes really well with this red, I think. But, I mean, it couldn't be more fitting than that. AMD build with the red theme. Everything else is pretty much black to keep it clean. If anything, I'm actually pretty happy that I didn't use like a team group set. The thing about some RGB RAM sets, the colors, well, one, you can see the LEDs. They don't diffuse it that well. But also, getting the color just right on those, like red sometimes starts looking a little orange. It doesn't match as well. So compared to like fans, I feel like fans, they have a much finer resolution getting in between colors. But for RGB kits, especially from like team group and stuff like that, I found it hard to exactly get all the colors to match. But overall, I mean, this is pretty much a no frills build. $1,000, you get crazy good performance for that price, and you're not really skimping out on anything. I would say maybe if you had another $40 to spend, you could get 32 gigabytes of RAM. But me personally, I'm not sure how many like people would need to use that. But yep, all done. I'm assuming, yeah, so I need to install Windows and get all the games and benchmark it, but hopefully that video goes out this weekend. Alright, so I'm going to put this up here, hopefully it doesn't drop. Now I can get focused on chat, because we have been furiously building the entire stream, and I'm sure I missed a lot in chat. Okay, Star5328 says, oh, okay, I wasn't sure if you're calling me a sociopath or a Jensen. I think you're calling Jensen one, but what's in this build is essentially a Ryzen 5 5600 and then an RX 6700 XT, 1TB storage, 16GB of RAM, pretty much standard everything else for under $1,000, which even with new stuff coming out right now, you cannot fit Ryzen 7000 or like RTX 4000 series or even Ryzen 7000, both CPU and graphics card, into $1,000 build because of how expensive they are right out of the gate. It's going to take a little bit of time for those prices to drop and for motherboard prices to drop, as well as, you know, you're buying DDR5 RAM. So kind of like the analogy with the cars or the phones, all this previous generation stuff is still phenomenal value, and they're seeing price cuts because new stuff is coming out. So don't always feel like you need to buy the newest stuff. Like, it's like me, again, with the phones. I bought a OnePlus 8 when the OnePlus 10 was right around the corner. I bought something that was 2 generations old. You think AMD messed up going DDR5 only? Let's see how much the prices are right now. I need to bring up a browser. Give me 1 second to do that. Let's see how much that costs. So we'll go to the browser. We'll go to this. Bam. Okay. All right. So if we want, let's go to Newegg. It's easier to sort from there. DDR5 16 gigabyte. I feel like most people, with the amount of money doing a DDR5 build, you would go for a minimum 32. So let's look at that. Food's ready? All right. I will be up in a moment. A moment could be 15 minutes. You can start eating without me. Okay, so let's look at DDR5. 32 gigabytes. What is the lowest price? Because we can get 32 gigabytes right now for like 90 bucks if you're going on DDR4. 32. This is DDR4. Where can I sort? DDR5. I'm just. How come there's not a category just for the generation? Like, I have to pick all these speeds. Obviously, the cheapest ones are going to be the lower speeds, but we're looking at 144 bucks. So about like a 40 to 50% premium over something kind of equivalent on the DDR4 side of things. But this isn't too bad. We've had, when there was like memory shortages and stuff like that, we've had DDR4 cost this much for 32 gigs. So it's definitely getting cheaper, but still, these small, like, oh, it's not that much more for the motherboard. It's not that much more for, you know, the RAM. It's only like 50 bucks more here, 70 bucks more there, 30 bucks more there. That all compounds and adds up to like hundreds of dollars by the time you finish a build. So that's why I still think, like, if you have like sub $1,000 or less, yeah, you're basically gonna be on last gen's parts, which is completely fine. Out of topic, how was PAX West? PAX West was really fun. I bought a 4-day pass and I only went 3 out of the 4 days because it's just so much like effort to go and pay for parking each time, especially. But PAX is like, you know, I started at basically opening every day, went till the expo hall closed. So it's really long days of walking around, standing. I was interviewing literally almost I did interview probably or talk to more than 100 people. But what I was doing in that video is I would tell them what I was doing before I turned the camera on out of respect. So there was a lot of people I went up and asked, like, hey, do you mind answering a question for a survey I'm doing? And some people said, oh, no, thank you, I don't want to be on camera. And I respected that. So I walked up to more than 100 individuals, but about 100 made it onto the video. Braithorn says, okay, yeah, we can get to Twitter in a second too. We're not gonna have that much time, but I'll do it real quick. I disagree, but it's interesting to know the obsession with Samsung DDR4 B-die persists into entirely new generations of RAM. What does Star say? Thing is, DDR5 is simply worse than Samsung B-die and is gonna be for a while. Yeah, honestly, I guess anybody in the chat, if you do like make it a point to go out of your way to buy more expensive B-die RAM, is it because you just like toying with it, or do you feel like it actually helps with your workload, whatever it is that you do? Is it there's one thing to be like an enthusiast and wanting to push the edge of tech and like getting higher numbers and stuff for fun, but then how practical is some of that stuff to your, you know, everyday use, as well as to actually shortening the amount of time it takes to do certain things, like let's say if you're into rendering videos, or like if you're writing certain scripts and things like that. It helps in 1% lows a lot when CPU bound. Okay. What is your... I guess what is your bottom line of what is acceptable for 1% lows? Hey, what's up, Madness Rising? And I think this is gonna be subjective, and everyone's gonna have a different answer. But I feel like so long as like 1% lows don't go below, say, like 60 FPS, it's not gonna be as noticeable. Because it's when you start getting into like the really low numbers when you start noticing the jittery. But 15% boost in competitive games. I can see that because a lot of those are CPU bound, but even without B-Die, you can easily push like 300 FPS in CSGO. And so, like, do you really need that higher of FPS? I guess you'd have to look at the 1% lows like you were saying. Frame Chasers does a lot of content on it. Okay. Okay, so people were asking about Twitter, so let me pull that up real quick and sign in. But I'm curious what people have to say. Okay, what? Twitter, because I'm in incognito mode, every time changes my dark mode settings. Okay. Alright, let's go to the browser side of things real quick. We know you just went to oh, is PAX Australia next week? All right, what do we got here? Oops. So we have we got Jonathan H, who's asking about it. I'm not gonna play the sounds because I think it's gonna be.
So I'm gonna show you guys, but he sent me through Discord, so I just brought it within his affiliate link. Hold on, let me try to get this out of.
Okay, so what's going on here?
1 second. Here we go. Okay, change the rocket. Here we go.
So this is a screwdriver I think I showed on stream or in a video.
Pretty good though.
I got this. So I got this on sale. Do I have it in here? It might be in the garage. But okay, so there's Jonathan H. And then what else was there? Wait, what? Watch till the end? Why do I need to watch to the end?
Pretty good though. Okay, so I'm watching it in the.
Why was I watching to the end, Jonathan H? It's me. Okay, thanks for sending the clip in. Okay, so we got XKR. This is the only other Twitter submission. Then I gotta go eat dinner. But let's take a look here. So this is a build. Oh, this is your current build. Looking to do a CPU upgrade when prices drop, and we're looking at pounds. So you're in the UK, we'll have around 500. Oh, okay, what is that conversion? The USD. So we're looking at 540 bucks. Okay, and you currently have a 12th gen chipset. Okay, about 2 months ago, you swapped in a used 2080 Ti. Previously had a Palette Gaming. Wow, okay. So from your 1650, you had a huge jump up already to a 2080 Ti. But very capable card still. So what CPU? You're going to do a CPU upgrade. Let's look at what your system has, though. So you have a 12100F, B660. So no need for anything too crazy. What was this? 1650, okay. 2080 Ti, 512 SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, pretty standard all around. Lynnwood Landcool 215. I like this case a lot. Very solid RM650 power supply. Got your Windows. All right, and then some peripherals. So yeah, in terms of CPU, so when every time someone posts a budget that they have, I don't I don't find it necessary to spend all that budget. So they have 500 pounds to spend, but I think just throwing a 12700 in here would be very sufficient, and it should come in. I don't know what UK prices are like, but I think you can come in well under 500 and pocket the rest of the money for a future upgrade or just for whatever else you need in real life, because we all need money. So yeah, you have quite a bit to spend, and you could easily find a CPU that can match the performance of this 2080 Ti, or even give you a little bit beyond that, so that it won't be a bottleneck when you upgrade this 2080 Ti. But yeah, I think just looking at the rest of the build, 12700 seems to make the most sense to me. And if RAM ever becomes an issue in any of the games that you're playing, you could get another set, because you have a 2x8. And looking at this motherboard, let's see how many slots. Yeah, so you have room for a memory upgrade too, or even like a 1TB SSD. But 500, I don't think it would be necessarily worth it just to spend on a CPU, unless you know you need the extra cores. The Freak House says, after a small hiccup, Maxsun motherboards are horrible quality-wise. My PC is back and running with RGB. Wait, which Maxsun specific motherboard do you have? John Paul Bacon says, please help the Ryzen 7 5800 X3D. It's probably the overall best CPU machine that's mostly green. Wait, what? Oh, at please. Okay, yep, you're answering their question. No. New CPUs. Actually, there's... I think someone tweeted out, like, it was some... Who was it? It might have been CapFrameX. They're tweeting out from a website that showed, like, how many units were sold of the new 7600X, and it was, like, 40 or something. I'm just curious, in this chat, has anyone put in an order in or have received these current or new gen of Ryzen CPUs yet? Like, on Newegg right now, they're going for basically their projected MSRP price of $300. Yeah, $300 recently launched on here. It looks like there's quite a bit of... Oops, wrong one. There's quite a bit of bundles. What... Enermax got some bundle... Wow. Corsair, Deep Cool, yeah. So... And none of these come with coolers, too. So that's something you have to factor in. You could argue if you're spending $300 on a CPU, you should not be using a stock cooler. But their previous generations did, and they worked just fine. Kirsty says, if AMD supply me with a free DDR5 kit, then yeah, I'll... Well, what about the motherboard, though? Even if they give you the free DDR5 kit, you're okay with paying... let's see what the AM5 motherboard. Let's see what those are looking like. So 300, what's the lowest price one we can find? So we have this very bare bones looking RAM motherboard combo. So 16 gigabytes with an X670E motherboard, 2-item combo for $315. So if you take the memory prices out of it, you're looking at like a $240-ish, $230, $240-ish for the motherboard alone. Christopher Coonan was helping Gabe out in the chat. What did I miss? It sounds like Gabe was trying to get an upgrade. Oh, is it worth... Okay, yeah, that's actually good advice. Is it worth upgrading from 5600 to 5000X with it being so cheap now? You guys probably already talked about what your uses are. But I think that's actually a really good point to make there. If you want to do I usually don't recommend doing like same generation upgrades or like incremental upgrades that aren't significant enough. But if you know somebody who is looking to get into PC building and you can somehow, you should disclose it to them that you can let them have your old CPU to recoup a decent amount of the cost, because, you know, CPUs, unless you overclocked it irresponsibly, it should be fine. Yeah, you can pass along that to someone else, or I guess put in a system to sell, and then make the upgrade. It's been more than 15 minutes. All right. Melissa just gave me the reminder. It is now dinner time. So, I think that's going to wrap it up for the stream. Look out for the performance from this build in this weekend's coming video, as well as all the fancy B-roll once I clean up the cable management and everything like that. But I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend coming up. And thank you, as always. Doback Slaps. I don't even know if you stay to the end of the chat because you're kind of a lurker in the background, but with your huge donations, I definitely got to say thank you again, as well as like Braythorn came in, stopped by the chat, hung out, also gifted some membership, so I appreciate that, as well as everybody else who is always here week in and week out. We have everybody's names now pretty much I recognize, because you guys are like so... You're in here week in and week out, so we definitely have a pretty tight-knit community here. I really do appreciate it. It feels good to be... To like have this place where people can go to where either on stream they can get helped out, or in the comments we have regulars like Christopher Coonan who are answering questions that I either miss or am too busy while I'm building the PC or looking through stuff online to answer. But usually people are answering each other's questions and helping out too, so I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, hope you all have a good rest of your night. I'm gonna go eat dinner now and then probably clean this up and then hop back on the World of Warcraft so I can get to leveling. But yeah, see you in the video this coming weekend. But other than that, have a good one. Bye bye.